We cannot believe how fast these 2 weeks have flown by. We love this little town on the seashore. Cleveley, it's Cleveley, Thornton, Cleveley. It's 3 towns combined, but it's just a lovely little area on the west coast of the UK. Here we are, a little bit north of Blackpool. We love the UK. You're going to hear me say that all the time. These islands are our favorite. There is a tram that goes from Thornton down to Blackpool, and it's really super easy to get on, and it's inexpensive. We haven't jumped on it yet. We do a lot of walking. It was simply too windy to record live. You can hear it.
I have these sweatshirts, leggings.
I'm not going to subject you to that horrible windy noise. I'm simply explaining that I have on long pants, a jacket, and an overcoat, and it was warm enough for us to be out. Walking along the seashore is typically cooler, and it was absolutely cooler for us, and we loved every minute of it. But again, it's noisy, so this entire video will be a voiceover. We love this beach. It is a long beach, and apparently it's an award-winning beach. This beach goes for miles and miles and miles. I actually love the fact that it's an award-winning beach. And typically when we're at this beach and we're not actually down in the sand, we just walk along the boardwalk. There's really no one here. Of course, it's during the week and folks are, you can see, award-winning beach. Yes, seashore, award-winning seashore. I think that's exactly what the sign says. But you can get an idea of how elevated the walkway is, and I'm sure that it's just to keep the town safe because the town is literally right on the shoreline. And the beach in most places is pretty deep, but I believe this town and this area of the country, they're very, very careful about protecting their towns from the ocean. This is the Irish Sea, and this Irish Sea, I imagine, can get really, really nasty in the wintertime. So it's protected by these long beaches, these break fronts where they have all the rocks built up, and this very deep stairwell that goes down to the beach. So, like I said, you can literally walk for miles on this. It's a great place to take your dog for a walk, push a child in a stroller, get on a bike. We did see quite a few bicyclists, but again, it's kind of a quiet day for us. Every time we've been down to the beach, it's been pretty quiet. I cannot do a live recording because it's just too windy and too noisy. And I'm sorry, you'll miss a little bit of the ambiance of being at the seashore. You won't hear the seagulls. You'll just hear the wind because I cannot make a recording at the beach. It's just too noisy. So here we are. We have been in this area for about 2 weeks. We are leaving on the weekend. The owners will come home and we'll say goodbye to the kitty cats, but we've loved it. It's been so easy. It's been so nice. And we love finding all these little seashore towns. Now, this is a monument to all. Now, when I said this waterway can be rough, this is a monument to all the ships that have been lost in this area. Shipwrecks on this coast since 1643, some as recent as the 2000s. Look on the other side and you can kind of see where it's the names of all the different vessels are carved into this big steel plate. I'm guessing that this steel plate is a remnant of some ship. I kind of get the feeling, but you can see 2008. There were 2 ships lost in 2008 on this coast. So the Irish Sea is a mean sea when the weather turns. We took a ferry from Belfast down to Liverpool, and this is the waterway that we were on. And later in the video, there's actually a ferry out there that we see while we're walking. But this is a monument to all the ships that were lost. And I think it's pretty cool that they used a piece of a ship to create this monument. And I mean, it goes back to the 1600s. I'm just showing you, but I can't read all of the names all the way up to the top. It's quite massive. It's a massive piece of steel. But you can kind of get a feeling of how many ships have run aground or been lost in the Irish Sea along this coastline. I thought it was pretty interesting. Now, this is actually a beach. People go to the beach here. It's open from 1 May to 30 September. No dogs, so it keeps the beach free of any dogs. But we have only seen one person in the water. There are typically people down on the sand walking, but we haven't really. Roger said he saw someone in the ocean while we were walking, but I didn't see them, and the water's really rough. Now, we've been here when it's not been so windy and so rough and a little bit more sunny. We just happened to go down today and wanted to take a nice long walk. We were going to attempt to walk all the way to Blackpool. That is like an hour and 45-minute walk. Now, this cement wall separates the town from the boardwalk. So that's another barrier in addition to this massive cement barrier that they have that brings you down to the sand. And you can kind of see way out in the distance there was a ferry. And it gets a little bit closer before it takes a turn. We don't even know where it went. 1 minute it was there, the next minute it was gone. We both looked at each other like, where did the ferry go? No clue. So this walkway, if you start up at the top of the little peninsula that pops out and you walk all the way down to Blackpool, it's about 7 miles. And this walkway actually goes all 7 miles. That would be an amazing bike ride, I think, to just jump on your bike and take a ride by the sea. Now, on a windy day, I think you get a lot more exercise because you're really pushing against the winds that are blowing. And I'm not sure, if I look on the map and I kind of look in the distance, you can kind of see where there's very little land and very little beach. It's just the walkway as you get further and further south, going towards Blackpool. But we didn't get down that far. We turned around, and I'm really glad we did because we took a nice walk along the high street. If you want to stick around, you'll see some shops on the high street. And by the time we got back to where we're staying, it was raining. So the rain kind of comes and goes. You never know. You look on the radar. You think it's coming. You're not really sure. You can get another peek at that massive structure that they've created to, protect the town from the ocean or the sea. It's just a nice place. It's been a nice town. We've really enjoyed it. It's a cute little manageable town. We walk everywhere. There's one bus that goes all around town, and then there's a tram. And the tram, like I said, goes from this part of the town all the way down to Blackpool and to the piers. Blackpool has 3 piers, and we only saw the north one when we arrived that day, so we did not see all of them. We've not gotten back down to Blackpool since the day we left when we arrived in town. We just don't have any reason to. Now you can see that some of the beach is blocked off. They've blocked off the stairwells. I don't know if it's because of the weather. I don't know if it's because they don't want people to have access. I mean, if you walk down one set of stairs, you can pretty much walk most of the beach. Those piles of rocks and ledges, you can't really see right here. But anyway, I think you would have access to most of the beach once you get down on the sand. But this walkway and this promenade is really wild. It's very wide, lots of room for lots of pedestrians, and the ocean was just really, 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 the waves were crazy that day just because of the wind. The wind comes in and you can just see waves for miles and miles and miles. But we don't mind. We wanted to walk. We wanted to get outside. We wanted to get some fresh air. We initially thought we would attempt to walk closer to Blackpool, but it was just, after about an hour, we decided to turn around and go back. I wish we had more time here. I really love this area. We both do. We fell in love with these 3 cute little kitty cats. I mean, they'll steal your heart. So there you can see Blackpool, and there's the walkway that takes you, it's an hour and 45 minutes, takes you from Cleveleys all the way back down to Blackpool. And the town is literally right along the shoreline. It's a small town. It's very manageable. Like I said, the high street is really easy. We did a lot of walking to do all of our shopping. We have not stepped on the tram or stepped on a bus since we've been here. It's just been very, very manageable. Roger and I love the shoreline. We grew up in a state that had a shoreline. We've lived most of our adult life along a shoreline. So we tend to gravitate towards these pet sits that are along a shoreline. When we leave here, we're going away from the shoreline. So for 1 week, we'll be away from the shoreline, and then we will head around the 15th, 16th of July. We are going to head back to Edinburgh. I love going north to Edinburgh. The weather here has been 60s, 70s, some sun, some wind, some rain, some overcast. But we know that when we head back to Edinburgh, we're going north. We're about 6 hours to get from where we're going to be up to Dundee. We're heading to Dundee, where you can kind of see the ferry in the distance. And then I think this is the last time we saw it, and then all of a sudden it was just gone. We have no idea where it went. Anyway, there isn't really a port, so we have no clue where it went. It just disappeared. But, so yeah, we're going north, and we know it's going to be cooler when we get up to Scotland, but we are fine with that. You know, we have our mild weather clothes. We really don't have a lot of summer clothes with us. When we get back to the States, we're going to need those summer clothes, which are stored, so we'll grab them. But for right now, we're fine with the mild weather. We're fine being on the coastline. We'll miss this cute little town. We would love to come back. We may come back someday. But the beauty of this is that we get to visit all these cool places. Now, all these rocks are set up periodically in different places along the beach, almost like making a breakwater. So you really can't get from one side to the other because they discourage walking on the rocks. They don't really want you climbing on it. So again, another way to protect the beach. And you can see how close the town is. I mean, it's literally right across the street. It's very, very close. So all the folks that live in those homes have a really nice view. So this is the Cleveleys beach. There's a little old-fashioned ice cream shop. There's an ice cream truck. And now we are walking down the high street. Now, the high street in these towns is really the main drag, the main street, and they call it the high street. I'm not sure what that refers to, but every time we've been in a little town, people just refer to the main street as the high street. So close to the beach, you have kind of typical beachy things like outdoor shopping, and there was a little, in addition to the ice cream shops, there was, and these prices are crazy. I mean, £10 for sandals, and almost everything there looked to be really decent quality. I don't happen to need any shoes, so I wasn't really shopping, but there was a little candy shop and some more ice cream and a little amusement area where they had little tiny indoor rides and things like that for the kids, which kind of reminds you of what beach towns have. As you get further down the high street, there's just typical shops, restaurants with some really great deals. Cleveleys, see, there's the name of the town right there, Cleveleys. It had, this is the Sunday dinner. A Sunday roast dinner, always good. Usually it's like a roast with some potatoes and some vegetables, and their fish and chips looked good too. But these meals are very reasonably priced. We did not stop and have anything to eat. Neither of us were hungry. But you can see they have the little gift shops, and then there are thrift shops all over the place in the UK. On this particular street alone, I think I counted 5 of them. So you make donations, you bring things in, and then they sell them. In the States, they call them thrift shops. Here, they have a different name. And then there's a little produce store. There's another one. It's a hospice. This one's run by Hospice. Iceland is a grocery store that's over here. Now, we typically go to Aldi's, and there is an Aldi's in town. But so these are just the shops along the high street. There's a little department type store, more restaurants. Some things, this was kind of late in the day, so not everything was open But there's Aldi right there between the two buildings. And they have brick and mortar travel agencies. Actually, one was right next to the other. These are kind of cute. Along the main street or the high street, there's these little crocheted and knitted covers that go on the little poles. I do not know what it symbolizes. I just thought they were really cute, and someone took the time to make these. I don't know if they were doing a fundraiser at some point or it's something that's typical for this area, but I just thought it was cute. Now, Poundland, that is their version of our dollar store, and things in there start at £1, but you can buy just about anything in there. There's some food. Now, here's your barber shop, and then there's a butcher, and that Bryan House, and this is another thrift shop. Bryan House was a thrift shop. And then there's also one on the corner. So there's one right there. But each foundation, each entity, and there's the tram. There's the tram that runs from the coastline, up and down the coastline. So from Blackpool north, it goes all the way up. And when you're walking, there's always lovely gardens with lots of flowers. Time for us to say goodbye and move on to our next place this weekend.